Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here. We're at the top of the hour. So I want to thank everybody for joining us here this morning for our Your Path to the Cloud webinar. As I look through the attendees, we're glad to see such a large group and attending from a variety of verticals. We've got many of our partners here, so welcome. Thanks again for coming. Okay, so whether you are migrating to the cloud, planning a migration, or fact finding, this webinar will be of value for you. So along the way, please submit questions and then we'll go ahead and address those at the end. So introductions, my name is Ben Banford. I'm the National Accounts Director. I work out of the headquarter office in Farmington, Utah. I'll go through a few slides here in the beginning and then hand it over to our VP of Operations, Jeff Nichols. Jeff's worked with domain systems, 18 years, been working in discrete manufacturing and PLM, 25 plus years at this point. Been on the front end of several large scale implementations of Agile PLM, now of course Cloud PD, product development, and an industry leader on many fronts. So it'll be of value once we really kick off and have him do a deeper dive. Again, I'll just jump through some of the preliminary stuff here. For those of you who don't know domain systems, we were the original Agile PLM implementation partner. That's back in the late 90s. We've implemented Agile PLM more than any other partner. Something unique about us, we have and do only specialize in PLM and Oracle primarily. As you know, a lot of our competition, there's different product sets they work in. Our entire force here is just Oracle PLM, and of course the integration side of it, customizations and everything that would go along with it. And now of course the Oracle Cloud PLM component. So here is what our agenda looks like. Again, I'll just touch on the strategy side and then we'll turn things over to Jeff. So fundamentally, the challenge that we're all faced with, right? Regardless of what you manufacture or your target market, right? The challenge remains the same, or there's fundamentals we all deal with. So profits shrink as new product development costs increase. So in order to stay competitive, to combat this, companies need to speed up development of new products and speed up the process of improving products. All manufacturers competing for market share are faced with similar complexities. And the complexities come from attempting to speed these cycles up. So what we get to is in order to be successful and scale, we need to operate on applications that allow for product innovation and account for these complexities that come with the product lifecycle. So the purpose of the solution, the way we address this and navigate through it, regardless of on-premise or cloud, PLM does and is this. It increases innovation, eliminates stagnation, accuracy, communication. A lot of this is of course bread and butter type stuff, right? But this is the tool, the solution, and the purpose of PLM. So Agile being a very mature application at this point. Hundreds of companies use Agile. All of these different installations can and are different in some ways, right? Unique and highly customized in many cases, different integrations and whatnot. So no one can argue that Agile has become the industry-leading PLM, set the bar in many ways. Oracle acquired the product, 2007, 8, improved upon the core PC module, really expanded from kind of a PDM type function to reach outside into other areas of the supply chain through modules, and of course then increase the integration capability. So we've all seen this wheel. This graphic is familiar. I think probably many attendees have seen even this graphic evolve as Oracle has built upon the actual Agile suite. And it really expanded the footprint, right? So please understand, Oracle is not doing away with Agile, and they've said that. They've committed to support version 9.3.5 and 3.6. They'll keep the application current to operate on changing technologies and whatnot. Now, what Oracle is not doing, and what they've been open about, is the fact that they're not putting their team full force innovation type development and improvements upon Agile. They're now focusing outside of that, going toward their cloud product. In this case, we'll talk PLM. So as I mentioned, that is due to industry evolving. So we've got evolving industries, and that is exactly what Oracle is now adjusting for, new complexities due to these industry changes. So this is, excuse me, this is the graphic that I think we'll all become very familiar with moving forward, right? At this point, Oracle is now improving the PLM component of their supply chain cloud model to take advantage of all the available information and leverage all of the tools now that come with the overall cloud and the capabilities that come with it. So due to these complex markets, our PLM needs to account for things like social analytics, product commercialization and whatnot, which you'll see up in the upper left-hand side there. And then, of course, everything within the Agile suite is still accounted for in Oracle Cloud, and they're working toward that. So why cloud PLM? A good place to start, lower cost of ownership. Of course, less infrastructure costs, and that's something that's first and foremost with the cloud. No one can dispute that. It is less expensive in terms of the infrastructure and running the product and whatnot. Accessibility, flexible, scalability, speed of implementation, which is something that's important to everyone here, etc. The cloud enables best practice, right? Promotes uniform usage, ultimately improving the user experience. I mean, really less complex, easier to use, and more friendly that way. Less configuration, open standards, the security, faster, more reliable, and really that's due to the power of the Oracle database, right? And there's a huge advantage Oracle's got there over the competition, and that's a real powerful component to this product set. So interoperability, another distinction here, an important reason to consider, Oracle, the cloud, and what they offer on this front, which again, industry-leading standard. So Oracle Cloud PLM, the technology connects processes between departments and teams, creating a closed loop. The cloud enables product development, leveraging Internet of Things, the data, IoT data gathered from products in real world performance, right? So those analytics are being pulled from across the supply chain and now available to improve the life cycle of the product, anticipate the market, etc. So SIM data, we've seen a lot of them lately, as they really participate and get involved in the cloud movement on a few different fronts, right? In this case, they're saying the top 4 benefits that the customers are seeing, the market is seeing: ease of management, ability to scale, time to value, capital expenditure. And so that is what they're reporting and seeing. And I think as far as, from the partner network perspective, we're certainly seeing that. So with all of that said, I want to just show this quote here from Larry Ellison, right? Some organizations are not cloud comfortable yet. We see that, but one thing that I would say discrete manufacturers do need to be open to is the hybrid model. Need to be open to opening the supply chain to what that is and looks like, regardless of the company. Even if they're 100% cloud strategy, they'll be producing products within a hybrid model for some time as a transition takes place. So again, this quote here, coexistence of cloud and on-premise computing is going to be a decades-long process, if not forever, right? So not to of course, undermine the value of the solutions that we're all working in today, right? And so with that, Jeff, if you're ready, sir, we'll go ahead and have you do the deeper dive for us. And Jeff, on the audio end, you might need to unmute there.
I did. Just took a while to unmute me. All right. So I echo Ben's comments in welcoming everybody. My focal point for this webinar is basically the path forward, evaluating a transition to cloud or not. And you'll see that we've laid out 3 different options here in just a few minutes that you can go forward with. So, cloud as a solution. Well, in addition to the business benefits, one thing that we need to understand is the fact that the technology foundation has changed, right? It's shifted. Yesterday's technology is not necessarily up to the task of today's demands. So what we're seeing is from yesterday, it was a more organizationally focused technology base, where today it's enterprise-wide and one can even say industry-wide. You've got customized solutions historically, where today and in the future, everything is focused on light, easy, out of the box. A larger staff was not a surprise from yesterday's perspective, where today everything is focused on headcount, lowering that overhead costs because of the competitive nature of putting products out to market. A way of doing that is that the on-premise mindset is shifting to a cloud solution, right? Shifting that investment, that maintenance requirement, that responsibility for uptime over to a supplier of technologies. Companies, we're still seeing it today, right? They keep their solution for years upon years upon years. It's not uncommon for us to run across a company that is still running Agile Advantage from the early 1990 something. So 20 some odd years, where now everything is in the instantaneous mode of you've got continuous updates. Today it's surprising if you don't get a iPhone, for example, update at least once a day, or from that particular app you're getting them on a monthly basis. And then you're moving from a PC base to everything's got to be mobile. You got to be doing it while you're on the go. The busy lives that everybody's leading. So today's technology, or yesterday's technology foundation, has shifted, and that technology of yesterday cannot necessarily support the tasks and the requirements that are placed upon it for today. So keep that in mind as we go forward. Now, there are primarily 2 types of cloud solutions that we're going to focus on in this. One is the SaaS model and one is the PaaS model. SaaS model, service as a solution, is one that provides you a variety of applications out on the cloud that you are able to utilize. Applications that have certain functionalities. Where the PaaS model, purchased as a service, allows you to link the SaaS solution to the PaaS solution so that you can enrich or enhance the required functionality of the SaaS solution. This is where, for example, process extensions would come into play. It allows you to also do a large degree of data and business analytics. So you've got 2 main entities that work together. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold here. Sorry about that. You've got two different types of solutions, a service and a purchased as a service, working together hand in hand. Some of that PaaS solution automatically comes as part of your SaaS solution, but nonetheless, the PaaS solution can be augmented as your business requirements may be required above and beyond the functionality that the cloud solution has for you. Now, everybody has seen the wall. But Oracle Cloud PLM continues to expand its capabilities and install base. It's continuing to listen to the customer. It's continuing to evolve in its technology capabilities in providing the analytics that are necessary for analysis and data mining. And so they are continuing to improve. All right, I look at it as this. The Oracle Agile product has been around since the early 90s. And it is now, I mean, it's a great product, don't get me wrong, fantastic product, but it did not get there overnight or just in a few short 5 years. All right, it's a continually evolving entity, and it will continue to evolve. And cloud is the new platform that Oracle has chosen to move forward with its PLM as well as other supply chain type solutions. Now, ultimately, it's going to become decision time. There are what we see 3 different options that are out there. Option one, you can do a wholesale migration to cloud, right? Everything goes. And, there you go. Or number 2, you can augment your on-premise solutions with cloud options, okay, to help govern, for example, governance. Or maybe you're using a cloud ERP solution and you're using Agile, PLM. Well, that's a augmentation and linkage between cloud and on-premise. Or you choose to wait. Maybe it's too early for you to decide what you want to do, and you choose to wait in relationship to your your decision. So we see it as 3 different options. Now, whatever option you choose, all right, there needs to be a path to that option, unless it's sit and wait, right? That path to either a wholesale change or to a divided, mixed on-premise and cloud solution requires some degree of depending upon what your choice was, some degree of functional transformation. All right, where you're taking a standard historical Agile PLM type solution and moving into a cloud type solution. So that being said, some of the things that you're going to need to consider are, of course, each of the 7 different modules that are in the Agile PLM solution. You need to understand how they map, what the functionality gaps functionality gaps may exist between the 2 products, how the business processes would change, what kind of data is being captured or even able to be captured in one versus the other, the reporting, the list goes on. So you need to do a comparison and mapping for that transition. Now, the cloud options are one that you can provide an on-demand delivery and management of your service across the entire technology stack, or you can have flexibility to determine which portions of your technology stack you want to be managed by Oracle, and whether or not you want a portion of that to be cloud or other entities. So you've got a choice, a managed cloud or a full service cloud solution. Domain systems here provides a managed service types of solution if that need is what your path is going to go with. We help to bridge the gap as companies move from a on-premise to a cloud type solution. Or they choose to stay in a hybrid type solution. In addition to that, augmenting the cloud capabilities with automation that works in conjunction with their cloud solution. So domain systems has the capability to provide that managed service requirement, should you need it. Now, when you are, as I mentioned, considering the cloud, the first question is, have I recovered my ROI from my on-prem solution yet? The answer to that may be yes, maybe no. It may be important, it may not be important. Secondly, how mature is my online solution or my on-premise solution in the fact that I have tailored it, customized it, built so many process extensions that it thinks for me, and am I going to be able to ever achieve anything close to that from a cloud solution perspective, or is that important? So, how mature is that on-prem solution? And last but not least, with those customizations, based upon how important they are in your product development process, is it possible to put that functionality inside the cloud or not? And if it is, what does it cost? So all those types of things are required in order to, help determine what path you're going to take. Now, when you create this path, there are several things that you need to consider. The first one being, of course, the data modeling. Is there an opportunity to collect all the attributes and all the information that I currently collect in a cloud type solution? Is it configurable? Does it meet my requirements from a presentation perspective? Am I able to improve and enrich the data? Are there validation requirements? What about validation of my system? Okay, all those things are needed. And one of my most important things in this regard relative to data modeling is it possible to extend beyond just the product management? The Agile footprint has, a project management piece. It's got a quality piece. It's got a CAD piece. It's got capabilities outside of, but yet important to that product development process. So data modeling is one of the key pieces. Close to that is am I going to need to do any business process re-engineering? What does my security model look like now if I were to move to the cloud? Do I have the same tight requirements upon who does what, where, and when in a business process? Will I have to redesign my business workflows, et cetera, et cetera? Relative to integrations, whether you've got an on-premise to cloud choice or a cloud, full-blown cloud solution, integrations to ERPs. You may have a PLM solution from one company, but yet your ERP is hosted and a cloud-based solution at another company. So what are the integration opportunities there? What is going to be required in order to do that? What are the social media needs? What are the mobile needs? All of that falls into that integrations area. Moving on to interoperability, Ben touched on this lightly, but you've got the whole thing of master data management, data structuring. How is that going to affect what I want to do? Big data or data mining, abilities. Is the cloud able to provide and support any big data and data mining type opportunities, as well as BI, right? I mean, there isn't a company out there that doesn't have the information that wants to report on it and do some analytics and do some, reporting of where we are and all that kind of stuff relative to product development. Another one being data migration. How much cleanup is needed? How much am I going to have to clean my data in order to move it to the cloud? What is that path for data migration? Am I going to filter out some of my legacy products, or am I going to keep those in? I'm in the middle of acquisitions. How can acquisition to companies data, how is that, what is the process to migrate that and to absorb that information as I need it? How easy is it to add another business line and set up that partition of information as I manage my data? So large questions always about data migration. Lastly, there's training, right? Just like anything, a new system requires training. We've talked earlier relative to if I'm going to I have to re-engineer some of my business processes. Well, you'd have to understand the impact on your standard operating procedures or your training products that you have for onboarding new employees, both from a system company-wide as well as technological path. So these are some of the things that need to be thought of and understood as you start to create the path for your option that you choose to go forward with. Now, what kind of tools exist, right? We talked about understanding excuse me, the data modeling and things of that nature. Well, the cloud solution provides administrative type things, just like the Agile PLM product does, but it's different, right? You can certainly subclass. There are certainly out-of-the-box objects, and you can extend those attributes. You can create attributes, multiple types of attributes, and they've got a module or a piece of functionality in there called Apps Composer that allows you to really tailor and almost customize your page, the web page that you'd be looking at. So they've got several tools that are in place that aid you and that are there for you to, for lack of better words, make make the cloud solution personalized for your company. As I mentioned before, creating new objects and classes of records with attributes, editing existing ones. There is a form of supporting Groovy scripts, triggering and events. You've got dynamic page layouts. You can hide tabs. You can, if there's too much content on a page that out of the box, you can certainly hide all that. You can add custom buttons and actions, as well as from an integration perspective, the integration to the cloud is all done via web services. It's very very straightforward. Some of those solutions are, for example, creating a bug database or integrating to a Jira type solution with requirement specs. Invoking a particular action by putting a button on there, calling a PX type of solution that goes ahead and rolls up compliance, for example, or adding a create idea from an issue button. More and more things are being added, and ideas and examples are being put out there, and there will certainly be more of those identified and spoken about in this upcoming conference at Limitless. So, more to come on that. So just to recap and review, the cloud offers a distinct productivity and functionality improvement. Any company not considering to take advantage of this risk the fact that your IT, your technology foundation and infrastructure will fall behind, the ability to support your product development and bringing your products to market on time. We see it as three possible options: wholesale movement to cloud, big bang type of a thing, as well as mixed cloud to on-premise. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, I meant to mention these a little earlier when I talked about the three options, but I wanted to mention that, if it's all cloud, there needs to be a plan and a strategy and an approach to that, to where then you develop that, and then are you going to do it in a piecemeal type solution or piecemeal type manner, and taking advantage of those cloud solutions that are built on foundational best practices. If it's a mixed, if it's the mixed cloud and on-premise, excuse me, one thing that you need to consider is, number one, how long is it going to take, and what's my return on investment for that, and is that the best solution for me? It may very well. I can't say yes or no without understanding your unique circumstances. But in that one, again, your approach needs to be one that, I have to consider more integrations between that on-prem and cloud solution, and that I need to understand possible data migrations, because I'm sharing the data, and my data modeling and my master data management structure may be a little different than if it were all in the cloud or not. So you need to consider all of those things when you are determining a strategy of cloud or not. Third option is, of course, wait, but I would not wait too long. And hopefully each and every one of you, your companies has already been talking about cloud and whether or not to do anything in that regards. There are places where it makes sense, and other places where it might make sense to kind of wait a little while to see how certain things pan out. But that's your planning your approach to cloud and making cloud reachable for you. Speaking from experience, domain systems, excuse me, our solutions have improved item master creation in certain areas, in certain integrations, to upwards of 50%, as well as BOM management and movement into certain integrations by up to 80%. Key things that we're talking about are, key or speed in delivering and reusing of information, thus reducing the amount of labor requirement. With that, I guess we'll open it up to any questions that anybody might have. So Jared, have we got any, or Ben, have we got any questions that have come in?
Yes. Well, there we go. Yeah. So thank you, Jeff. Let me just scroll back up to the top here. Okay. Will you speak more to the time frame of cloud? What is the average migration and implementation project duration?
Great question. I'm going to answer it, in the form of it depends. If you are migrating 100%, then that you're looking at probably a 6-month time frame. If it's a fairly very well defined, for example, if you're migrating PC for Agile product collaboration module and you want to go to cloud product development, you're looking at about a 6-month process. If you're looking for something larger and a much broader footprint, then yes, that it would be expected and understood that that time frame would be longer than that.
Great. Okay. So next question, I've heard about Product Data Hub. What's the difference between that and what you've been talking about? How does it fit into the cloud footprint?
Okay, Product Data Hub is part of the cloud footprint. From the Oracle perspective, the Product Data Hub is the center point. It's the center point of everything in the supply chain arena of cloud solutions. It is where you actually load data into Product Data Hub to be visible both upstream in product development as well as downstream in ERP. So Product Data Hub serves two purposes. One, it acts as an intermediary of preparing and staging data to move downstream to an ERP, MRP type transactional type solution, as well as it works and provides a collection point for a lot of what I'm going to use the word commercialization, but I'm going to qualify my use of commercialization of downstream systems such as ERP and MRP, as well as out to your customer base. If you are having to send out, for example, data sheets to some of your customers, you can send that stuff out. If you're populating a website, it facilitates the population of a website with content every time a change, for example, to your product changes, or a data sheet gets updated, or specifications get modified. All that can be automatically posted on your website or on a customer's website if they give you the access for your products on their websites. So Product Data Hub serves a very important part as being the hub. Okay, think of a spoke and wheel. You've got the hub of a wheel, which is the center point, and you've got spokes going out all over the place to external customers, to ERP systems, to upstream systems. It's the hub of everything. So hopefully that answered the question.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. So next question. So great presentation. When you list the improvement in BOM and item creation, what does that mean in terms of time and effort?
Okay, so number one, the improvement in time is number one, you're able to search to see if that item or component already exists and reuse it. So there's a reduction there in the fact that you just don't assume that it's non-existent and you just create it and then you end up having two instances of that same item. That's number one. So the reuse, the quick access to the content to understand maybe the specifications of something rather than having to go research or go to paper files or pull up a drawing or whatever. You've got a drawing automatically attached to that particular item. So you're reducing the time of creation in those things. Relative to accuracy, it's now visible to everybody to where everybody is able to see, understand, and know the configuration of that particular product. So as well, relative to bill of material, you're obviously removing the redundant human keystroke entry possibilities if you have an integration. And with a cloud solution, if you have cloud ERP, or even if you don't have cloud ERP, that can still take that engineering content, structured engineering content, and push it into your ERP system. So you're removing that manual entry where manual keystrokes and transcribing always has a high potential of data entry errors.
Great. All right, let me scroll back up. Sorry, Jeff. So does Domain have a solution to transition or migrate from Agile to cloud?
Do we have a solution? When I hear a solution, I think of a packaged, something you go grab off the shelf. We don't have a solution in that nature. We have an approach because every customer and every company is different. And so we have a methodology, we have an approach, and we have the tools in order to do that.
Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and quote this one. There's interest in PDH. PDH interacts with our customers and I believe subcontractors or suppliers is I think where we're going. What does that process look like?
That would then mean that the content, okay, the content that needs to be shared with your suppliers and subcontractors would need to reside inside of PDH. And then your customers would just log in to PDH, and based upon their roles and privileges, they would have access to that specific content that is to be shared with them.
Okay. Okay. What types of on-premise Agile functions are not yet available in the cloud? Would we either have to wait or customize or replace?
Is that the end, or are you looking
nope,
for
sorry.
more?
Nope, that's the end of it.
Okay. So the biggest one that comes to my mind relative to what is not in cloud is a compliance module. Compliance is such an interesting thing that I believe, well, and with the advent of the IHS and Silicon Experts and the other compliance content managers out there, I don't think Oracle wanted to, and this is Jeff speaking, this is not Oracle, this is my deduction. I don't think Oracle wanted to get into that and compete against that. Now, capturing the compliance status and the compliance, the compliance of a particular item to a specific specification, absolutely, that can certainly be captured within the cloud. But any kind of roll-up feature would need to be a custom utility that is built on that pass side of things. Remember, I talked about SAS and pass. Pass would be that data enrichment or that additional functionality of rolling up a BOM and populating the end result, where it needs to be. So compliance is one of the places that sticks in my head.
Sure. Okay. Okay, well, that is all the questions that we've got. So with that, as you all, as far as the attendees digest the information here, if there's any questions that come up, just go back to the registration email, or of course, if you have worked with us on any level or know any of us, just reach right out so we can get you the feedback. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this over. Here we go. So general inquiries here, just go ahead and dial us at that top number, bottom number for the overall assistance line, right? So this will route you to who you need to be connected with over here on the domain side. And then of course we can work a next step from there. So that is it. We'll end just a little bit early here, everybody, and really appreciate, again, the attendance, appreciate everyone coming, encourage questions, encourage you to reach out so we can start planning or defining a path on any level, even if it's down the road a ways. So thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you very much. And I think
everybody.
we're good. So thanks.